Welcome to Hoosier Motor Club's Wheel Lift and Dolly Training Module. In this module, we will talk about basic procedures when towing a vehicle with a wheel lift style tow truck in tandem with dollies to lift the rear wheels. We will also talk about safety protocols and cover tips for avoiding damage to the member's vehicle. When first arriving on the scene, go through the Rescue 5 protocol as outlined in the Total Member Satisfaction training module. After following the Rescue 5 procedures, begin servicing the vehicle by lining up the truck to the center line of the member's vehicle as closely as possible. We need to place the vehicle with enough distance away from the member's vehicle for clearance to lower the boom and extend the lift. We will now lower and place the boom arm in position in anticipation of lifting the front end of the vehicle. As you are lowering the arm, watch for obstructions and be aware of your surroundings, including those curious members who want to know what is going on. Lower the arm all the way down and then lift up slightly so you will not damage the surface of the road, driveway, or parking lot. It isn't just the vehicles that can get damaged. Extend the lift part of the boom out. Sometimes there might be a whining or groaning sound. That is to be expected. Sometimes they make those noises. Back the truck up until you feel a slight bump when the lift touches the tires. Make sure to back up very slowly. Alright, there's the bump. Once we have the lift against the tires, we are now able to engage what is called the grid. This is simply the bar that extends around the back of the tire. These two bars are what the tire sits on when it is lifted. It is now time to take the dollies to the back of the vehicle. The dollies themselves are heavy enough that you need to use smart lifting procedures. Use two hands. Keep the item close to your body and lift with your legs. Don't bend at your waist and don't reach over at awkward angles to lift. This technician employs smart lifting techniques. When lowering the dolly, he gets in a squatting position as opposed to bending over at his waist. This is preferable under these circumstances and helps prevent injury. This is the layout of a dolly. It has 3 slots on each end for the crossbar. This gives flexibility and fitment to the vehicle when setting up for the tow. There are also 2 slots on the pivot mechanism for the lifting bars. Now that we have the dollies next to the vehicle, we are ready to bring over the crossbars and adjust them to fit the vehicle. Each crossbar has a retractable pin to hold the slide in place. You simply size the bar to the width of the wheels and place it behind the rear tires. Keep in mind the pins are spring-loaded, and it might be wise to use a small screwdriver and gloves to activate the pins. They can pinch you. When placing the bar under the vehicle, the flat part of the bar goes against the tire. This will ensure proper fitment when sizing the tires for the 2 crossbars. As you are carrying any equipment around the member's vehicle, be mindful of quick turns or walking too close to the vehicle. It is easy to forget and scratch or dent a vehicle with your tools and equipment. Place both ends of the bar equidistant from the tire. Bring the other dolly over, again using smart lifting procedures. When sizing the front crossbar, use the same hole that you used for the retractable pin on the back bar, so the width of the bars are identical. This vehicle sits high enough that there shouldn't be any clearance issue. Be cautious on vehicles that sit low to the ground. You may have to finagle the bar in sideways. Again, be mindful of any possible scenarios that could damage the vehicle. To extend the dolly tire, flip the lock pins and pull the tires apart. This puts the dolly in a position to hook the crossbars. This also puts the dolly pivot assembly in position for lifting. It is important when hooking the crossbars to the dolly to note which slot you put the crossbar attachment in. You will want to match the configuration exactly on the other side of the vehicle. This technician is fitting the back bar against the tire so he can get a tight fitment when he installs the front bar. He wants it to be fairly snug when trying to set the positions of the bars. In this case, he uses the first slot for the back bar and the second slot for the front bar. Now he is setting up the passenger's side dolly. He has noted the positions of the other side and is going to match it here. He first unlocks the pivots and gets the dollies in position to connect to the crossbar. He has to pull a little from the other side to have enough room to hook them up. Not to worry, if they are equidistant from the tire on both sides, then that is optimum. Again, he puts the back one in the first slot. He rolls it forward to get it snug against the tire, and he will now hook the front one to slot 2. It is now time to lift the first pivot. There are a couple of concerns when doing this procedure. It is important to keep both hands on the bar firmly until it gets into place. Your head and body are clear of the bar so that if it slips it can't come up and hit you. It is also important that it doesn't slip because the bar can fly up and hit the vehicle. Notice that we haven't lifted the front. It is possible that there could be more weight on the back, and if you lift the front first, it is best to lift the front last. Once you have done the lift, make sure you lock the pivots in place. Lift the other 2 pivots, keeping both hands firmly on the bar and being mindful of your body position if the bar slips. We don't want any injuries. Oh, and don't forget to lock those pivots. Now let's lift the front. Using the controls to operate the boom, lift the front tires off of the ground. Retract the boom to desired distance. Now it is time to tie the vehicle down. This step is crucial because without the tie downs, the vehicle could bounce right out of the cradles on the dollies and the lift. We require that all 4 wheels be tied down. When preparing the ratchet straps, it is best to take the ratcheting mechanism off and set it aside. Those ratchets can easily scratch the member's wheels. Hook the strap to the back part of the lift. Drape the strap over the tire with the loop forward. This will allow you to pull back on the strap and increase tension. Thread the strap into the ratchet and hook the ratchet to the front part of the lift. Tighten the ratchet until the strap is tight around the tire. Thread excess slack into the ratchet assembly. Make sure the strap isn't dragging the ground or have the potential to get caught. Here is a little closer look at how to use the D-ring type of strap. Make sure there are no twists in the strap. Feed the strap through the ring as shown. It is important to orient which direction everything is facing so you can tighten it more easily. Face it as if it was a backwards D. This will allow you to pull it towards the hook to tighten it. Once you have draped it over the tire, thread the strap into the ratcheting assembly and hook the ratchet to the dolly as shown. Tighten strap as shown. Repeat procedure for the other 2 tires. Don't forget the light bar. Now you are ready to tow. Once you have reached your destination, the reverse of the procedures shown here is how to disassemble it as well. When you pull the release on the ratchet, it will probably make a popping noise because of the tension. This is normal and is nothing to worry about. That just means you had it good and tight. It is also a good practice to use the strap to protect the surface from coming into contact with any of the metal parts of the ratchet strap. It is important to remove the tie downs before lowering the vehicle, especially on the fronts. If you take a close look here, if you lower the vehicle, the hooks will be on the ground and impossible to remove. Be sure to roll up the straps neatly so the next tow is not a struggle. Lower the front wheels, but leave the grid engaged. It will act as a tire chock when you work on the rear wheels. This is imperative, especially when you are on an incline. The car could roll off on the dollies. After you have lowered the front wheels, you can now take the tie dones off. Again, this is the reverse of the prior procedures. Be sure to be mindful of the ratchets and the D-rings as to not scratch the wheels. Again, roll the straps up and put them away. It is time to lower the dollies. Grab the bar to lower them. Don't forget to unlock the pivot you are lowering. Use the same precautions, 2 hands and awareness of body and head position. If the bar slips, make sure you are out of the way. Maintain 2 hands on the bar throughout the procedure so the bar does not slip and cause injury or damage.
Have your stance good, and then you don't want that thing to fling you in the head, so you're going to come back and hold the force and walk. And that way it's on the ground. So you would do the next side. There, all the way flush there. Hold it, pull back, but also have tension forward. Just kind of walk it back. And then that way it's loose. Here, here.
Once you have lowered the vehicle, you can now move the dolly to release the tension and unhook the bars from the dolly. Again, be mindful of the wheels and the body of the vehicle as to not damage anything. Be mindful of your body position as to not injure yourself.
And then now that that's freed, this kind of frees it up. So I can just lift here and then just pull this back.
All right.
And then once that's done, I like to fold this up already. So what I'll do is I'll move it.
Remember
here.
to not place the dollies back on the truck until you have put the crossbars on there. If you put the dollies on first, you will not be able to place the crossbars.
Put it on the truck right away because I got to put the bars first because those are on the inside.
I see, okay.
And then these go. But if I need to move them out of the way, I'll just pick them up. Just walk them over, set them down, do the other dollies, and then do the bars.
Don't forget to lock the pivots on the dollies as you are removing them. Lift smart.
Bars, I usually try to roll them and pull them out. I'll flip it away from the car. Then I usually, for this one, I can use my fingers. And I'll just press down. And then it locks back in place. Then I'll carry it back to the truck in there. There we go. I like to have these parts out. And then I need this back to put this dolly down. And then I'll lift. Use both hands. Lift up close to my body. Place it in there. Make sure it's back. Bring this back. Push it down. Grab that cotter pin. Open the pin up. Line it up with the hole. Feed it through. Make sure it locks. And then now it's in place. It ain't going nowhere.
In this module, you learn the procedures for using dollies and a wheel lift tow truck to tow a vehicle. You learn how to keep safe during the procedure, and you learn what to watch for to keep from damaging a member's vehicle. See you in the next module.